let's quickly understand the UTM tagging on your campaigns. So let's say you've got your campaigns up and running and you've got analytics set up, and when people are clicking on your ads, you would start seeing some results in your analytics and obviously clicks in your Google Ads console. But how do you know when a visitor clicks on an ad, which ad it was, or which keyword do they search for, or to give the exact details of all the to give the exact details, including the campaign ID, the ad ID, and so on and so forth. So there's multiple ways of doing it, but for most cases, you could turn on the auto tagging that is available in Google Ads. So you click on all campaigns, click on settings, click on account settings, and you have this option here which is auto tagging, which is tag the URL that people click through from my ad, which will basically track most of the things, including your campaign ID, your ad ID, and so on and so forth. Now, this is usually enough for most people, but if you wanted more specific data, you wanted data to be accurate, precise, you wanted to collect more data, say for an example, you wanted to collect the device type, or you also wanted to collect, for an example, any extensions you were using, or whether they clicked on, and you wanted to collect what creative you were using, and you even wanted to collect a location, then you would have to implement something called the tracking template. And the way to do that is you would go into the individual ad group, and then you would click on settings and you would click on the ad group URL option. Now here you can, as you can see, you get to set up a tracking template. So for an example, I call this general template. And now I can add certain URL suffixes, which will basically be tagged on at the end of my final URL, and it will have those things attached to the URL, which will basically be sent to analytics, and it'll make it easy for analytics to track. So let's say, for an example, I go GA_network, which is what I want to send, and I'll call it G_network, and I give it the value of network, which is what network they were using. So I could even do this here. So I could, obviously add a custom parameter here, or I could just continue piling that up. So every time you add another parameter, you've got to give the and sign, and then I go GA_device equals to just the regular device value. Then if I want to know what campaign ID, I go GA_campaign. Make sure you don't make any spelling mistakes. Equals to, and you go campaign ID, and so on and so forth. Now, if you place some of these ones in here and you click on test, it will tell you that whether it's been successful or not. So, for an example, here it says landing page URL, landing page not found. So courses, GA network is this, this, and this. So obviously that hasn't worked in my favor. And the reason for this, I'm assuming, is because it's missing the most important LP URL in front. So give this a test. Still not. I'm going to remove this one here and give this a test, and hopefully that should be fixed. Didn't even need to include that LP URL over there. Give this a test, and the landing page was fine. Now, if I click it, so you can already see the campaign ID is already been sent over there. You can see that campaign ID has been sent from the ad group itself. You can see the device. There's a value of C. But then again, if I wanted to add more stuff in there, so say for an example, if I also wanted to add keywords, and if I also wanted to add location, let me just type that in over there, and then I give it a test, and then it brings up my landing page. Obviously brings up certain other values in there as well. So let's give it a click, and you can see again, most of the values are missing, but I can obviously see there's a campaign ID there, and obviously it'll have location, keywords, and so on and so forth, if this was an actual click from Google Ads. So that's how you go about setting up setting up the entire campaign parameters. I'll link up the entire landing page URL campaign tagging parameter that I use at the bottom of this page, and you could literally go into each of your campaigns and then just have that inserted as a part of the UTM parameter setup into this ad group.